The Enlightenment was a philosophical movement which dominated Europe in the 18th century. This period saw the world shift from an absolutist society to a more equality-driven society. At the forefront of this social and political movement were men known as the philosophes. Each philosophe had his own opinions on how the government should be operated, as well as opinions on humanity as a whole. One such philosophe was Charles Louis de Secondat, Baron de la Brede et de Montesquieu, who was often simply referred to as just Montesquieu. To understand Montesquieu's social and political views, we must first understand the time period he walked the earth. Montesquieu was born on January 18, 1618, in Bordeaux, France. He was the son of a soldier who had a long, noble ancestry, as well as to an heiress who would eventually provide him with the barony of La Brede. Montesquieu was raised in a chateau south of Bordeaux. Much of his early life was spent observing the daily lives of the ordinary citizens who lived in the village. These observations stuck with Montesquieu and later greatly affected him when he drafted some of his most famous works. In addition, Montesquieu's views would also be greatly affected by the English becoming a constitutional monarchy and the reign of Louis XIV. The English constitutional monarchy would go on to inspire Montesquieu on how the government should be operated. Louis XIV, who aimed at ruling over all aspects of French life through his absolutist views, served as an example of how the government should not operate. In the year 1700, Montesquieu traveled to the Oratorian College de Juilly to receive an education. Upon graduating, he moved to Paris to study law. While in Paris, he discovered that he had no great taste for law as a profession. Instead, he was more interested in the meaning, development, and variations of established laws and their relationship to customs and history. In Montesquieu's opinion, man is naturally moral, but corrupted by society. This is well observed in his most famous and controversial series, The Spirit of Laws. To quote The Spirit of Laws, "In a true state of nature, all men are born equal, but they cannot continue in this equality. Society makes them lose it." Montesquieu is best known for his writings on government within The Spirit of Laws. Specifically, he writes about the separation of powers and uses the constitutional monarchy of England as an example. By spreading power equally between different branches of government, he believed society was protected from tyranny. And now to explain his branches within the separation of powers is Montesquieu.
Hello. I'm young Baron Montesquieu, and this is my executive branch. The executive branch is the branch that has sole authority over the administration of the country. The executive branch contains the top leadership positions within the government. These responsibilities contain foreign minister, commander-in-chief, and head of government. The downside of this system is the possibility of the executive branch having too much power if left unchecked or balanced. Hello, young Baron Montesquieu here again, talking about my judiciary branch. The judiciary branch is responsible for interpreting and applying laws in the name of the state. Though the judiciary does not make laws, it merely applies them. This branch of the state is tasked with ensuring equal justice under law. A downside to the judicial branch is that there aren't many people deciding the outcome of the court cases. Also, there's a high possibility of judges becoming corrupt as well as biased juries. Hello, young Baron Montesquieu here again, and talking about my legislative branch. The legislative branch is responsible for passing, amending, and repealing laws. Legislatures have the ability to raise and lower taxes. A legislature with only one house is called unicameral, where legislatures with two houses is called bicameral. The two houses often advise one another to act as a sort of check or balance. The downside of this branch is that it takes a long time to pass laws and bills.
After the success of his Persian letters in 1721, which were a political satire of religions, monarchies, and the rich French, and the success of his Spirit of the Laws in 1748, Montesquieu finally began to be ridiculed after the publication of his meteorological climate theory. With this theory, he urged politicians to take geographic location into consideration when drafting laws. In fact, he went as far as to deem those living in warm climates to be too hot-tempered and those living in cold climates to be too stiff and unyielding, while those in mild climates, coincidentally such as France, were ideal. The hypothesis never caught on. On February 10, 1755, Montesquieu died of fever in Paris. He left behind 2 daughters, a son, and his wife.